The final trailer for Dune has been released by Warner Brothers and is already getting fairly positive reception. Now, there have been dozens upon dozens of trailers for Dune of all different kinds, but I have to say this one does finally stand out. Now, let me try to be reasonable in terms of what it does give and does not give. So, a lot of it is just a few more seconds from the main trailer and is not very remarkable, but we do get some new things that the main trailer did not have, such as a lot more with the ornithopters and how they're designed, how they look, and how they move. The soundtrack is very, very different. I thought that was actually the most standout part was the sound here is much, much more remarkable in terms of being immersive than the main trailer. I just didn't like the main trailer music. It just didn't really grab me the way that this one does. So the music has been just stepped up much, much enormously and just much more powerful. There's also a much better overview of what we're going to get with the film itself. Now, if you're completely new to Dune, this is not that inviting because there's this very short sequence which is really good with the Baron Harkonnen. However, if you don't know who the Baron is and you just look at the images, you'll be just utterly confused because, again, he's going to come off as this weird kind of Godzilla-esque monster. And that isn't really who the Baron is, but that's the way he's being portrayed. So if you like the books, it's an interesting interpretation. But if you don't know the books and aren't familiar with the books, it'll just be this very odd character slash creature. You have no idea where he's coming from or what he's up to or why he wants to kill or hurt certain people. So this is sort of being crafted more for diehard fans and not as inviting as it should be to new people. But overall, it's a very, very strong effort. And I found more interesting were the comments on the video where a lot of people overseas have seen the film already and are very, very generally positive about it and are definitely saying you need to see it in IMAX and definitely see it in the theater. So I found that the more interesting part of this, that the final trailer was able to get a lot of interesting reception from the overseas fans of Dune. So it's a big vote of confidence on the part of Warner Brothers because earlier on their marketing efforts were a little bit scattered all over the place in terms of how they wanted to market Dune, but it does seem like they're getting very serious and getting ready to really, really promote Dune and make sure it has a very, very strong opening in the US and North America. There were, however, some things that did kind of bother me about previous marketing efforts, and that was sort of where Frank Herbert himself wasn't really prominently featured. Now, if you go to the cast interviews as well as some of the advertisements, they don't really stress how much that Dune is a book or novel. I think they just took for granted everyone knows this, or it can be checked easily, especially in this age of Google. So, yeah, maybe, but it did seem weird that they kind of just mentioned it in passing that, yeah, we're adapting this very big, great book, science fiction classic, and that's it. But in this final trailer, they are not hiding it anymore. In almost every other trailer or advertisement, it's put into very, very small letters or very, very small print that this is an adapted source. But here, no, Frank Herbert's name is finally very big, very prominent. It's not being hidden. So some of the more clickbait kind of channels have been basically assuming that they're hiding Frank Herbert or trying to say that he's not the author of Dune. Not in this one. They make it very, very clear he is the author of Dune. This is based on his novel. So I found that finally a little relieving that after a long time, they don't really do anything with it. I mean, that's quite strange given how big his name is and the cachet it has, but I don't know. Maybe this is just how he and how Denis, Brian Herbert, and the marketing team just think this kind of soft approach is the better approach to sort of get people excited for Dune. And again, it isn't technically about Frank Herbert, right? I mean, he's a very kind of dispassionate person and very humble about the work, so it's fine. I didn't expect it to be wall to wall about Frank Herbert, but that did strike me as curious. They just didn't emphasize him for a long time, but this final trailer really corrects that. So the music is a lot better, the visuals are a lot better. It's a much more absorbing, much more kinetic trailer than the other ones. But again, you probably want to at least, if you're completely new, just read a short summary of Dune, just get a synopsis, because otherwise it'll be a little head scratching as to where are they or how they're jumping back and forth in terms of the images. But I think for what it is, this is a very good sample. And I am a little bit hesitant here because, again, Warner Brothers does have a really bad record with the Snyder Cut and other things of just not doing a good job with promoting their products or even treating their creators with respect. And Dune is technically another case, but again, overall, it is a strong trailer. I'm not telling anybody to like it if they don't like it, but I would say just give it a shot. It is a very, very remarkable piece. It is kind of weird that they're doing it now. I would have wished this was the first trailer. That would have been much more powerful. But I guess they just wanted to like not give away too much of what they were going to show with the worms or the ornithopters, and they wanted to save up for now. But it is very impressively put together and overall very strong presentation, and a good sign that they are finally trying to do right by the marketing with Dune at last with Warner Brothers. Thanks for listening.